Welcome back to PTC'25. I'm here with James Evans, EVP of Zayo Europe. James, thank you very much for chatting with us. How's final day? How's PTC been so far? Still alive?
Just about. It's my first time here, so really enjoying it.
Me too. And I feel like being from Europe, you come at a 10-hour time difference. I'm only just getting over the jet lag, and now I've got to go home tomorrow. So well, it's great to be chatting with you. Like Zayo Europe, you guys have kind of like spun out a little bit from the wider Zayo group. I think it was around kind of like middle of last year that we learned about that. Why don't you tell us how things have been going over the past kind of like 6 months post that?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, so really exciting year for us. So we announced a new CEO in kind of April time, so Coleman Deegan. I think you interviewed him earlier in the year. In July, we then separated from the US business. In the same month, we refinanced. And then over the course of the summer, we did what we call a FPP, or full potential plan. And really that was about how do we want to grow this business and take advantage of the opportunities in the market over the coming years. So we spent the back end of last year building that plan and building the team to support that plan. And now in January, we're full execution mode and excited to see what we can do in the market.
Tell us a little bit more about the plan. Like what opportunities do you guys see? How are you looking at like capitalizing on those?
Yeah, sure. So I think for us, there was that debate about whether you go further up the services stack and try and look at enterprise more maybe. We've seen a lot of kind of telcos do that in the past and start to go on that journey. We decided actually we're going to stay true to what we're really good at. We're an infrastructure business, infrastructure focused, and we're going to continue to do that. The one thing that we have been able to retain as part of the separation though is the IP network is effectively a shared asset. So really we're in a pretty unique position in Europe where we're very much focused on infrastructure services, but we also have a tier 1 IP network that we can leverage for our customers as well. So that's going to help us drive more expansion geographically, and then the infrastructure focus will allow us to take advantage of some of the market trends around AI and high bandwidth services as well. Yeah,
like separation, but there's still a lot of like collaboration with the US business. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, I mean a fair amount, right? You spend enough time being part of that organisation. There's always going to be ties, but as we go through this year, for example, we'll be repatriating more of the back office services into Europe, and so that separation will start to take hold more and more. And then the reality is, from a nearest points of convergence is at the investor group. So we have a separate P&L, separate debt. We have our own board and balance sheets, and so it really is an independent organisation built to support customers and opportunity in Europe. Yeah,
well, we saw from the US business this week while we've been here in Hawaii, there was an announcement around a bunch of like new routes being built from kind of like new emerging data center hubs within the US, and quite a significant kind of like sales pipeline from that AI-driven traffic. So I guess like from a European perspective, is that something that you're seeing as well in terms of that uptick in demand from AI, or is that something that's happening right now?
Yeah, I think it's fair to say the European market is probably a little bit behind the American market in terms of deployment of AI infrastructure. I think primarily, or as a starting point, you see that on the data center side. I think some of the power constraints in Europe are well documented, so I think we're really looking to see where do those big kind of hyperscale data centers get built over the next few years, and then I'm sure the connectivity requirements will come after that. What I would say though is that we are seeing increased demand, certainly on the cloud side, and so a lot of infrastructure is being built under the guise of AI, but really for me it looks and feels like an extension of cloud. I heard something a few years ago which I thought was really poignant, which is we tend to overestimate trends within a 5-year window and underestimate them over within a 20-year interval. And so for me, I think there's still plenty of legs in cloud growth, and then we'll absolutely see AI start to increase as the big data centers are built, and then the connectivity and the training and the inferencing starts to take hold in the market as well.
That makes sense. And we're talking about that cloud growth, you rightly mentioned there's a number of the kind of like key cloud hubs within Europe are facing like quite a challenging development environment from like a data center perspective right now. So in terms of like the new kind of networks and the new routes that you guys are building within Europe, is that kind of your, the adding more capacity to those kind of like classic routes between Frankfurt, London, Amsterdam, Paris, or are we now kind of like seeing Zayo Europe trying to like build out into some of the new kind of like emerging markets like Spain, Italy, Southern Europe, kind of Greece, Eastern Europe, Poland, those kind of places as well?
Yeah, great question. So I think over the last 2-3 years, we spent a lot of time overbuilding some of our core routes. So we built a lot of fibre capacity onto the the flat rings, that traditional Frankfurt, London, Amsterdam, Paris routes. We overbuilt some of those with new subsea capacity, for example.
Right.
We've also been investing in places like Dublin, in the metro in particular, and London. So we put a lot of capital to work there in the last couple of years, supported by some specific customers. And then also, looking at where kind of capacity and growth is landing as well in Europe. So we built a new route, Marseille to Paris as well. And again, that's designed to support all that backhaul traffic from Middle East, Asia and Africa, where we're seeing a lot of growth as well. Going forward, we're expanding in Germany. We announced a partnership with Gasline just before Capacity Europe, so that will all go live in April time. And so really what we're looking to do there is kind of capitalise on the traditional kind of wholesale high bandwidth market in Germany via that partnership. And we believe there's a tremendous opportunity there. To your point about expansion beyond that, for us we were traditionally much more of a kind of central Western European operator. So Germany really allows us to be a truly central player, and then that gives us great optionality to go north to the Nordics, east into Eastern Europe and the Baltics, and also gives us more capability south as well. So if we can, replicate the partnership with Gasline and some of those other markets, we'd love to do that as well.
Yeah. Well, can you tell us about kind of like plans for the Nordics, if there are any yet? Because that's obviously, there's a lot of discussion around the, I guess, like data centers in the Nordics. You've got a lot of clean power, you've got a favourable climate, you've got like highly skilled workforce there. It seems like a lot of eggs in the Nordic basket. So, yeah, what's kind of like the plan there? Is there any like timelines in terms of when we might expect Zayo moving northwards?
Yeah, so I think two ways to answer that question. I think first and foremost, we actually extended our IP network into Stockholm. So that will go live about now actually. So that'll be available for customers pretty soon. In terms of kind of fibre capability into those markets, I think probably not an area of focus for us. Purely reason behind that is there's some really great operators in that market already. You've got people like Global Connect, Aurelian, deep dense assets, and so trying to be a new entrant into that market is probably a little bit challenging. But we certainly see the opportunity there, driven by huge data centres, hyperscalers, etc. But we'll probably leave that to the kind of experienced players in that market.
Yeah, that makes sense. Wicked. Yeah, James, thanks very much for talking with
Pleasure.
us. It's been great, and thank you to everyone for watching at home as well. You can check out more news, views, industry insights at thetechcapital.com. So thank you for watching.